Welcome back to It's All About Sport here with me, Mickey Brennan, and my co-host Damien Donoghue. In the second part of the show today, we are going to be talking about the recent disappointment we had in Clonus between Cavan and Monaghan, both at minor level and at senior level. I suppose we'll start with the minor game, Damien. We were 6 points down at half time and came back. We were unlucky not to win it. Against a very strong and well-backed Monaghan team.
Yeah, look, we went into that game extreme underdogs. There's no doubt about it. Most of that Monaghan team played in the Ulster final last year that was beaten by Tyrone. They had 8 lads that were playing for St McCartans in the McGrory Cup semi-final. So the age group, the difference in maturity of the two teams was evident. But having said that, going into the game, I don't think we gave Cavan much of a hope. But
no.
Geez, they came out and done us proud.
You couldn't but be proud of them. Like their league campaign, the only game they won in the league was against Armagh. And all the other games they lost
bet, down bet them, absolutely hammered them. Monaghan hammered them in the league. But I have to say, and hats off to Gary Donoghue and Fintan Riley and Jody Clark, the management there. They had their homework done. They came out of the traps brilliantly. They took the lead into Monaghan. Probably unlucky to concede a goal early on, but we were 4 points up, I think, before Monaghan got a score, which was phenomenal work by the Cavan players. Like their effort, their tackling, their forward play. Tom Hayes was exceptional inside. Monaghan ended up putting 2 players on him because they found it hard to handle his talents, and they'd know him well. Tom Hayes goes to St McCartans School in Monaghan, and so he'd be well known to the Monaghan management, Monaghan players. But yet he still came out with a tally of 2 points from play. I thought Harry O'Neill started off very well from Killigarry, I believe, coming out around the field, middle of the field, battling for ball, and then delivering quality ball in there. They started off with Ryan Connolly inside with Tom Hayes. They altered things around as the game went on. But the big surprise for me, anyway, was seeing Greg McGovern coming on. And
he's a cousin of Gearóid McKiernan's, isn't he?
First cousin of Gearóid's. Broke a bone in his foot, I think 4 or 5 weeks ago, and was fit to come back and come on in the second half.
And turned the game.
Turned the game. Monaghan had no answer in the middle of the field for the physical power, the strength, his hard running. He hit a couple of big shoulders. He delivered the ball in. Cavan changed the tactics in the second half and brought on I think he's Thomas Galligan from Lacken.
Right.
Put him in as a big target man. Liam Galligan from Templeport was inside with him. Thomas Galligan was coming out. He was winning the aerial ball, quick layoff. The Cavan management reacted to the situation, brought off the players that probably weren't playing to their ability, brought on new players, fresh blood, and some of the moves that were in the second half created by the Cavan team were just extraordinary. I came out after the minor game not a bit disappointed because nobody gave Cavan a prayer. They went out, they battled, and had Greg McGovern been fit for the hour, I'd say we could be in another Ulster final.
That's the thing, isn't it? You'll have a lot of people saying there, if he was fit to come on in the second half, he's fit to start. Looking back in hindsight, we're saying, if he was there from the start, would we have won that game? Yeah,
but there's a lot of people saying that. My point of view would always be that the management know the level of fitness of every single player themselves better than any of us standing in the stand. We don't know how much training he's done in the last 4 weeks since he's got that injury. So I wouldn't. I personally wouldn't buy into that. I would believe that Gary and co would know when it was the right time to spring him off, and it was the right time, and we could have nicked that game. We could have won that game, so had we won that game, it was perfect timing. The fact that we lost by a point, or 2 points, people are saying, oh, he should have come on a bit earlier. Don't buy into that myself at all.
Yeah, well, you're going to have the doubters out there, and you're going to have the know-alls, and they're going to tell you, if he's fit to come on in the second half, he's fit to start. And look, it's a debate that's going to run forever, because it's always. It is,
but at the end of the day, we to conclude on the minors, we've made progress. Yeah. We've won 2 championship games this year with a team that not a lot of people expected to go too far, and time will tell, but we were beaten by 2 points in a very close game by a team that's probably going into the Ulster final as favourites.
Oh yeah, going into the actually I think they could be favourites for the All Ireland. I think at this stage, and not only that, but a lot of our players are still underage next year.
Yes.
I couldn't tell you the amount of them, but I know that there are a good few of them underage. So it's the future is bright for next year.
Definitely.
You know?
Like there's a lot of talent there. So
Yeah.
look, well done, and hopefully the management stays in place. That they're given another year at it, because I don't think anybody could argue they've done a very, very good job there.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely,
it's good to see it. So we move on to the senior game now, and debate about how you feel over after that result, after the game. It's
a hard one, you know. Like, everybody's disappointed, you know. And the thing about it was, if somebody said to you at the start of this year, okay, then Cavan are going to beat Armagh, Cavan are going to beat Fermanagh, and they're going to play in an Ulster semi-final, and they're going to lose by a point, would we have taken it? We'd have taken hand and all. And you know, it is a great achievement. It's absolutely fantastic, and we're on the right road. But you can't help but be disappointed in the manner of the loss. In some ways, I'm not blaming management or anything like that now myself, but you know, referees' decisions and whatever were poor on the day.
And we're poor on both sides.
Yeah,
in hindsight,
absolutely.
you have to say probably Monaghan should have had a penalty. Alan Clark handled the ball on the ground,
but we gifted them a goal straight away after that. So I don't think that goal
would
say that balanced out.
Oh,
but the free kick at the end of the game where the goalkeeper, I watched it. I watched the game at home. I Sky Plused it, and I watched it 3 times. And then I watched the Sunday game, and they counted the steps. He took 12 steps, 13 steps.
13 steps, and not only 13 steps, but he fouled the ball.
Yeah,
he released the ball from hand, you know, to hand. It was evident, and it's like when I was growing up, I was always taught two wrongs don't make a right.
Yeah,
and the fact that he missed the penalty isn't justified enough that he can turn around and say, oh well, I missed the penalty, I'm not going to give that. You don't do that. Referees shouldn't do that. But again, they're only human.
That's it. And look, we can't dwell on it, but you know, it would have been lovely, you know, and it was such an easy free to give. If you'd given the free, I think a draw on the day probably was the fairest result for both teams. Let them go at it again, and you know, I think in the second game you would have seen a more open game, and you would have seen, you know, both teams going for it. You know, and because they both would have picked out each other's weaknesses, and they would have said, right, let's go for this. And I think it would have been a great game, and I think it would have been fair.
But it unfortunately didn't happen. It would have been the easy decision for the referee, and when referees, you know, sometimes don't take the easy decision, they make the hard choice, and his hard choice was
wrong.
Not to give the Cavan free, and it was wrong. It was wrong. But at the end of the day, I still woke up Sunday morning kind of saying to myself, I don't know how I feel, because we're making progress. We're definitely making progress, but we should be in an Ulster final. We tore out of the traps. The first 20 minutes, I think we had 5 wides. And
the first 10 minutes,
and then 2 scores.
Yeah,
you know, like
20 minutes. Yeah,
and they hadn't got really much of an attack even at that stage.
Just the goal. That's all they had at that stage.
And like but even when at the point when they got the goal, we were after having 7 attacks without them getting up. Like, we were dominating possession. We were controlling the middle of the field. We were controlling the breaking ball. We were using the ball fairly well. Just our shot selection at some times were quite poor.
Shot selection and maybe our passes into the forward line. When we got the ball to the area where you need to be kicking it, we were kicking it, but we weren't kicking it. You know,
we weren't giving advantage to the forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
With the ball in, and it was interesting to see Monaghan couldn't live with that for the first 20 minutes, but then Cavan's energy fell down a wee bit, I think, and Monaghan,
I don't know if it was energy. I thought it seemed to me, looking at it, it seemed to be more a confidence thing. It was like, oh my God, I'm after missing that one. I'm not going to go for the score this time. I'm not going to give that pass this time because I gave a bad one the last time. And they seemed to be a little bit more apprehensive, and they were trying to get the ball to the likes of Mackey, who can pass it.
Yeah.
You know, and instead of those lads keep going and trying to make that pass or make that score, they were looking for somebody else to do it for them. If you look back on it,
which comes with a youthful team, and an inexperienced team. Sometimes that comes with them, as in they have to build up a long-standing confidence, and to be confident. Martin Dunn would have confidence in his own ability at the minute, but in the moment of the game, people were talking about the Fermanagh game, him getting attention. He got some unbelievable attention down in Clonus. The Monaghan lads hit him. They hit him every single chance they got, and I thought probably 15 minutes into the second half, he looked like a man who was after being battered for 45 minutes.
He was out on his feet at that
He was out on his feet, and it was tough on him. It's very, very hard to reproduce those sort of performances all the time. Having said that, he still scored 3 points, you know, so it's not a bad return for any game at all. But
exactly.
I personally feel, the more I've looked back over the video of the game, that the winning of the game was Monaghan introducing the subs at the right time. I think that they brought on the subs of Dick Clark and Paul Finlay. A lot of experience, a lot of championship games under their belt. They've played in 3 Ulster finals. You know, these lads have any amount of experience at that level. And I thought that they were brought on 15-20 minutes ago where they could have an impact on the game. I probably thought, and the Cavan management are exceptional and were brilliant all year. I thought they were a wee bit too late making the changes. 2 subs coming on, Kevin Tierney and Jack Brady in the 69th minute. I don't think you have a chance to impact on the game at that time.
Yeah. It could be a freak incident with a free kick going long into the square, ball breaking to you and you put it in the net or something like that. But you really don't have time to get your second breath even.
No.
You know, like...
No, I thought that would be the only criticism I'd have, because they had the game plan right. They were fit. They were using the ball fairly well until the point when they got up the field. But I just felt we could have introduced fresher legs a little bit earlier in the second half. But I would say the management themselves, I think we both seen interviews after the game with Terry Hyland, and he wasn't his usual self. He was deflated, and I'd say he realises that he might have left it behind.
It was a slight bit of anger. I think it was anger on his own part. He didn't directly say anything about the referee or about how his decisions on the sideline, but you could see he was a little bit frustrated, and he doesn't normally get frustrated. You know, Terry normally would be, you know, if you lose, you lose, and sure, that's it. But there was a little bit of an air of not anger, but there was angst about him, all right. And I think he wasn't happy with the decision the referee made, and I think he realised, as you said, that we probably left it behind.
Yeah,
you know,
like if you look at the bigger picture, for this Cavan team to have got to an Ulster final at this stage in their development would have been overachieving. As in, it would have exceeded the expectations of all Cavan supporters and probably the Cavan management. But can you imagine the amount of experience they'd have got from that? And I think Terry, after the game, realised that, you know, we were within that of getting there, and and
the thing about it, as you said, it's not about getting there or being having the chance to win an Ulster championship. It's the experience of being there. Now, all those lads have experience of under 21, getting to under 21 Ulster finals and All Ireland semi-finals. But at senior level, to have been in there against Donegal, to say, right, okay, and in our first, and it basically is their first year
of full redevelopment.
Of full redevelopment, you know, like, because Val was there last year until March
just
or April, you know what I mean, like around April or whatever, and you know, so Terry only took over the reins from then. So this is their first year of redevelopment, and in our first year of redevelopment, we've won 2 Ulster Championship matches on the trot. You know, we've been in Ulster semi-final, lost it by a point, and we're disappointed. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know, but maybe the expectations are a little bit too high at the minute of the Ulster of the Cavan supporters.
Possibly they are, but we still could have done it.
Yeah.
We still were as good as that Monaghan team, and I know that we're basically in Cavan. We live and hope and breathe that we're going to get the breakthrough and get into the top bar of football, and we're not there yet. But we still could have got to an Ulster final, and that's, I'm probably disappointed, but still happy with progress.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know, we have to look at it in its context. We are making progress, and you know, we still have the qualifiers, and just on the qualifiers, the qualifying draw was done on Monday morning, and we've been drawn against Fermanagh again. So
that game will take place on Saturday the 13th of July at 7 p.m. in Breffni Park.
That's the one plus we have on that. You know, it's we've played them twice already. So we have this year the league and championship, and it's 1-1. So on next week's show, hopefully we'll have somebody in discussing the upcoming Fermanagh game with us, and we can go through both of the league and the championship games that we played them in already this year. So on that, I'll leave it for Damien to close the show this evening.
Yeah, we just want to say thank you very much for tuning in to All About Sport this week. As I say, next week we'll concentrate on the Cavan Fermanagh game. We'll have a guest to discuss football with us here, so you're not just sick listening to 2 Drummond boys talking football. And we'll leave you at that. Thank you very much for tuning in, and God bless.
Cheers.